welcome to the Where Joy Lives podcast. I am your host, Cheyenne Reardon, and today I want to talk about something that's been sitting heavy on my heart lately: the difference between being nice and being kind. It's something I've thought about for a long time, mostly because it's something I've personally struggled with for years. I believed that being nice was the same thing as being good, that saying yes, smiling through discomfort, and keeping the peace meant I was doing the right thing. But lately, I have really started to question that, asking myself, what if being nice isn't always the answer? What if true kindness, the kind that's honest, compassionate, and grounded, is what really brings us closer together? So in today's episode, we're going to take a deep dive into what it really means to be kind, how it differs from being nice, and how making that shift might help us live fuller, more joyful lives. If that resonates with you, I'd love for you to stick around and keep listening. Okay, let's dive in. So to start, why don't we begin with, what does it really mean to be nice? Is it being nice always the right answer? Or is it time that we ask ourselves about the hidden cost of being nice? For much of my life, I believed this was my greatest virtue. I would smile, accommodate, and avoid discomfort, all in the name of pleasing others. I always thought I was doing the right thing. But eventually, I started to see the cracks. My boundaries were constantly crossed. Resentment built as I overlooked my own emotions. And the truth is, my life became soul-sucking. I felt like I was crumbling under the weight of constant niceness. That's when I realized I don't want to be nice anymore. I would much rather be kind. Because while being nice is easy, kind is honest. It's truthful, it's unwavering, and often kindness is exactly what's needed, even when it costs us the comfort of others. For me, this transition felt honestly almost supernatural, like stepping outside of myself and finally seeing the truth. Kind of like Plato's allegory of the cave. I've always been warm, giving, and welcoming, but in that openness, I ignored red flags, the way people overstepped, the times they dismissed my feelings in favor of their own. In trying so hard to be nice, I slowly erased my own needs. What remained wasn't connection. It was frustration, emptiness, loneliness, and exhaustion. Now, as I move through my mid-20s, I feel like I'm carrying this tiredness that is honestly so much heavier and bigger than what it really should be for my age. And to be honest, I don't want to carry that weight anymore. Realistically, I have been looking for ways just to put it down and find some sort of rest. That's what led me to start asking myself the harder questions. Like, what kind of life do I want to live? How much energy am I willing to give to people who just don't care about me? And as I asked, I began to question my own motivations. Where did this need to be nice even come from? Why had I been choosing niceness over being kind and honest with not just others, but myself? The main moment that shifted everything for me came during a Sunday sermon. My reverend said something that stuck with me ever since. She said, Jesus was not nice. He was kind. His kindness was rooted in truth, even when that truth led to conflict, even when it disrupted lives, even when it pushed people towards change they weren't ready for. And ultimately, that truth led to his death. Now, I know not everyone shares my belief system, but I think this point still stands. That kind of kindness is raw and unfiltered. It's a kind of genuine care for others that I don't think we see too frequently in our world today. where we often trade that true compassion for superficial niceness. The kindness I'm calling for today goes a bit deeper. Nice avoids friction and lacks empathy, but kindness is full of both of those things. And I realize kindness doesn't come from, and it does not mean to harden ourselves. It comes from a place of actually softening with intention. It means being open without becoming a sponge for the world around us. Kindness protects our spirit even when we reach outward for others. So now I do want to do some definitions, just so we're all on the same page for what it means to be nice versus what it means to be kind. When I'm referencing being nice, I mean that need to be agreeable, the avoiding conflict, pleasing others, and almost always suppressing our own needs for the sake of harmony within the group. Kindness, on the other hand, holds just a little bit more depth. It acknowledges truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It cares for others with boundaries, and it allows empathy without erasing ourselves. Niceness without compassion leads to apathy, to relationships built on pleasing rather than connection, because realistically, we're not staying true to who we are, so the other person in the relationship doesn't even know who they're connecting with when we're coming from that place of being quote unquote nice. Now, I feel like kindness gets a bad rep, especially with that whole truth-telling side of things. Kindness is not permission to hurt people. It is truth-laced, but it always comes from a deep root of compassion that values both people. It allows a really raw and true connection because you're realistically both seeing each other. Now, I'm sure at this point you're probably wondering, okay, this is all great. Thanks for the definition. But how is this going to really impact my life? And how do I even implement these changes? Well, good for you. I do have a couple of practical steps that you can take. And I have started practicing these myself. So they're hard, but we'll get through it. Number 1 is letting go of imposed expectations. Now, I believe we all carry narratives, whether it's from childhood, culture, or society. I personally ask myself often, which one of these expectations are mine and which one of these are borrowed? Number 2, if you know the truth, speak it. Fear can silence us. But sometimes revealing a necessary truth, again, gently and respectfully, helps others grow while keeping our integrity intact. And third, lead with compassion. Compassion means seeing someone's humanity while holding your own boundaries. Again, it's generous, but you still honor yourself in that exchange. Now, these changes don't always look dramatic. Sometimes it means choosing not to say yes when you're depleted. Sometimes it's pausing before you speak. And if you're anything like me, it's sometimes doing a double take of what your face is doing. And sometimes it's choosing silence over pleasing words. Sometimes letting stuff air is the best way for clarity. Since you've made it this far, I want to invite you to look inward. Where does your need to be nice come from? If it's to avoid confrontation, maybe that niceness is just fear dressed up as care. If it's because you don't want to hurt people or you don't want people to not like you, the same thing might be true. We have to be brave enough to look at the root. Why is being honest in a loving way so scary? Is it fear of rejection, fear of hurting others, or maybe just not wanting to do the hard work of telling the truth. Either way, it is time to step up, to practice kindness, because kindness leads with compassion, but it does always end with truth. And those two things are the key to a more fulfilled and more honest life. I'd be lying if I said these shifts are quick or easy. They're not. But then again, the cliche stands. Most things worth pursuing in life aren't easy. What matters is deciding to change and sticking with it, even when it's messy or uncomfortable, because what's waiting on the other side is worth it. So I want to leave you with this. You are worthy of kindness. You are worthy of true care. And it all starts with being that way towards yourself. If this episode resonated with you, I would actually love for you to check out the full article, which is going to be linked in the show notes. Just so that you all know, all of these podcasts are done with a sister article that I have worked on. Now, some of these will be from older articles that I've written and are topics that I just want to dive back into. And other ones will be something that's a little bit newer, fresher on the brain. It's really just dependent upon what is going on in my head that week. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And as you go about your day, begin to ask yourself, where can I shift from being nice to being kind? How could being truly compassionate change my life for the better? And if you have time, I'd love for you to share your thoughts or reflections with me. May we grow in kindness that honors and frees. Until next time, thanks.